What's up guys, this is Oli and it's time for another adventure. This time it is Ranaklu, one of the best mages in the game. He just has a problem that he has to compete with other really good mages for the spot in a couple of teams. However, he has the Cursed Touch, which is the absolute weapon against all sorts of summons, and I'm very certain that we're going to see that showcased in this latest adventure. In this video we're going to break down the common and uncommon encounters. In another video that I'm trying to deliver as soon as possible, we're of course going to be tackling the rare encounters, and then last but not least we're going to look at epic and legendary. Without any further ado, let's take a look at the first common encounter. This is common encounter number 1, so let's see how this one goes. Here the requirements are pretty straightforward. We have to get a lightning victory, which is often a case. Only deploy mages, so we're already settling into the idea that Ranaklu is a mage, so let's play mages in this adventure. And here we go. So most of the time the first common encounter doesn't really teach us anything except for how the unit works, like what's special about the unit. So we've seen that in the secret levels, that there's like a couple of opponents, you have to run in the middle and then go for the special. I was kind of curious if there was something that we're going to see here with the Ranaklu adventure. So my starting squad was Tim together with Granny, because then I could get some summons. Summons always mean you don't take a lot of damage because the opponent focuses on the summons, and then I'm just taking as many opponents out as possible. So now there's only a chance that the opponent attacks Tim, which is unlikely. And we do learn something in the very first encounter. There's a very strong summon. However, Ranaklu with his Cursed Touch just gets rid of that particular summon. So that's it already for the first encounter. On to the next one. The common encounter number 2 is a bit unique in the sense that you don't have to fulfill any special requirements. What you can immediately notice on this map is that there's darkness already present on the map. So that means if you're going for the special of Ranaklu, you're gonna get some benefits here. Picking some units took me forever, so let's just skip that part. Here we go, this is the start of the fight, and then I'm going in. I wanted to have even more darkness, try and get like a little bit going with Queen Akeshru and Granny, and apparently this is not the best strategy. As we can see here, this is not what you want to do. I think some other units would have been way stronger than Granny here. So we're making short use of most of these opponents, and now the big question is how can we connect with the opponent that is still remaining on the top. And the turn counter is running out, which is like, this is the last turn, we need to get the lightning victory now. And the problem is I made a crucial mistake. I could only connect with Granny, but a crit hit saves the day, and that's how I got the bonuses. So far so good. I'm 3 for 3 in terms of attempts and perfect victories. Now we're going to common encounter number 3, and we see something that we saw a couple of times with the Queen Akeshru adventure. You now have to play darkness units. So I was a bit surprised. I'm like, why am I not checking this box? Oh, that happens after the fight. Then I thought that this is the right squad. Like, looking at these videos again after a little while, I feel like there might have been some other options here, to be honest, especially Umanu, when you're able to spread the darkness. So again, I'm spending the most time unit selecting, then I'm opening, kicking things off with a Queen Akeshru into Umanu. One of the best combos in the game. Just gives you darkness, just gives you a couple of units on the field, and then we can immediately go for the special of Ranaklu, because again we need to make sure that we have a couple of summons, because summons always means that we're not taking any damage, which is kind of important here. So now we do have the upper hand, and we can see that there's a very big turn counter. We got 4 more turns, now 3 more turns to get the lightning victory. However, we don't really have a whole lot of units that can connect with these opponents upstairs. So I'm moving in with Umanu and also with Queen Akeshru, and now my shades are gone, and this is basically solely a decision of can I get the job done without the shades. It looks pretty good, but it's kind of tough, but in the end this is a lightning victory because we have enough turns. Thank you very much to the level designer for this one. That was a pretty generous turn counter for the lightning victory. We have made it to the uncommon encounters. We again need a lightning victory, and now we only need to play Cave-in Realm heroes. So it gets a little bit trickier than before, where we could pick any darkness unit. Now we have to focus on Cave-in Realm. This is the core squad of Cave-in Realm heroes, unless you do happen to have Nimrod. And this is an ongoing joke at this point, I guess. If you happen to have Nimrod, this level is a lot easier. Big surprise, I know. If you don't have Nimrod, it's also not the biggest problem. I just thought about what am I going to do here, and then this seemed like the perfect strategy. We just like walk out with Queen Akeshru, get rid of the important units on the other side of the board. I can explain it in a little bit more detail if you want. The ice mages that are there, they tend to always summon frost golems or frost warriors or whatever the name is. So you don't have to focus on them, you can kind of ignore them. So that means you have to turn your attention to the other units, because those are the ones that are going to do damage to you. Uncommon encounter number 2 is very similar. This time we don't have to play Cave-in Realm heroes but dark heroes, so that means Granny could come in and Accio can come in. So you have a bit more room for selecting a unit. Also, if you like, a Shun would be pretty good, to be honest, thinking about this now, because you can just walk in the middle and then do the special of Shun. It's also an option, but generally speaking, you have a lot of choice in these levels. I think unit selection again takes me forever, because it always does take me forever. I'm already thinking about how to do the level afterwards. So eventually starting, this is where we're kicking things off. Queen Akeshru is giving us a couple of shades. Then we want to spread the darkness, spread the love, go for the special of Umano, try and take someone out. That happened like just worked like a charm. Could have moved in with Granny a little bit closer. In the end, it doesn't really matter. And now look at this move. This is a bit crucial. I'm just going to explain this in a bit more detail. You want to walk behind the enemy unit and not in front of it. Obviously, you don't want to end up in thorns. But if you're placing Ranaklu here, there's more of a chance that this opponent is going to hit Ranaklu. If you're walking behind the enemy unit and the shade is then spawning to the left or to the bottom or wherever, there's more of a chance that this guy is not going to focus on your mage and he's instead focusing on the shade. Because if you want to get those perfect scores, this is something that you need to think of. So here we go, here's the shade. It's not quite where we were expecting it to spawn, but in the end it doesn't really matter. We have total board control, there's nothing here. Super easy level again, but a very nice showcase of what Ranaklu can do and how you can combine the effects of dark units. We are already at Uncommon Encounter 3, and you can see I've done this before. I had to record this 4 or even 5 times because my phone didn't work and like problems with the recording, infinite stuff. But in the end I got like the very best strategy. I had a strategy that worked before. This is how you do a lightning victory in 2 or 3 turns on top of getting a perfect score. So we're going in with Queen Akeshru. We want to spread some darkness again, and then after that we follow it up with Ranaklu, and that gives us a couple of shades, and we're taking out these ice queens in the back. I just like to call them ice queens, and the shades are strong enough to withstand a couple of attacks, and that just gives us such an upper hand and total board control from the very first turn on. Now I made a minor mistake here because I still have the festival quest where I need to use mage abilities. I should have gone for the special of Granny, but that's already it. We can just run through this, cut through the opponents, and immediately finish this level with a lightning victory. So as you can see, these early levels are relatively easy for this particular festival. I really like the level design. We very often saw very strong summons on the other side of the board, which makes perfect sense considering that Ranaklu really does not care about summons and how strong they are. He's the absolute counter machine against all sorts of summons. We have seen that in some Onslaught videos. That's already it for the first part of this little video series for Ranaklu's adventure. I'm gonna be back with more because I'm very much looking forward to getting a couple more mage abilities in and advancing in the festival by playing the adventure. Yeah, that actually makes sense. See you guys very soon.